Sagittarius, what's going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. My name's Alan Hill from UnknownTruthTarot.com. Welcome back to another Sagittarius love reading. Today we're going to take a look at the status of the love connection between you and your romantic person of interest. So let's get one card. And what's the mutual point of interest between Sagittarius and their person? Let's see. What's going on with you, Saggy? It's been a minute. What's going on with Sagittarius as it relates to their person of interest and the connection? Okay, that one's not coming, I guess. No problem. All right, what is going on with your person, Sagittarius? What's going on with Sagittarius' romantic person of interest? Okay, that was pretty easy. Let's see what we got going on here. On the bottom of the deck, the overall energy of this reading, Ace of Wands. This is a passionate new beginning. It's a new beginning in passion and desire. It can be the spark of some new passionate thing, passionate connection getting fired up here. This is the phallic symbol of the tarot deck. It represents the male you-know-what and using it to do you-know-what and sexual energy and all that fun stuff, passion and desire. So this could be, we got something new starting up here. Every once in a while, this card can reference like trying to re-spark the passion and desire in a connection that's fizzled out. Not too often, but sometimes it can. I have the Page of Swords right behind that. This is news and messages and communications, but this is an energy of a person who's trying to learn something or trying to figure something out, like they're doing their due diligence on something, they're researching, investigating. Sometimes this can be spying, snooping around, asking questions, digging for information. Sometimes I'll get this when, let's say, you're scoping out their social media pages or driving past their house or where they work or asking people questions about them, kind of like being nosy. Sometimes I'll get this when you accidentally uncover some information that maybe you weren't supposed to know. Like I've seen this happen before where the lady's throwing her husband's pants in the washing machine and something falls out of his pocket and she picks it up and it's a receipt for a motel room or something like that. So it can be uncovering information on purpose or on accident. It can even represent an external person who maybe knows both of you and saw something and came and reported it back. We got some sort of trying to learn something, trying to figure something out related to a passionate new beginning. So I don't know yet if this is like you're in the beginning stages of like a new passionate connection and you've got some questions, or if we got something going on where we're starting to uncover some information here. But right behind it, I've got the Two of Cups, Cancer energy. This is an emotional connection between two people. I breathe you in, you breathe me in, we're connected. But it's a two, and in tarot, twos represent choices. So this is some sort of a choice about a connection, or sometimes even a choice between more than one person here, which would make sense if we've got a passionate new beginning starting. It would make sense either way. So take that piece however it applies to you, but that's the overall energy of what this looks like it's going to talk to me about. We'll come back to that if we need to. This mutual point of interest is shared energy that affects both of you in some way. It doesn't always affect you the same way. Sometimes they'll do this and you'll feel the consequences, or vice versa. Sometimes they'll say or do something and it makes you start to feel or act this way, or vice versa. Sometimes it's an external thing that's happening and it just happens to affect both of you. But that shared energy between the two of you is the High Priestess. This is she who knows. She represents your unconscious mind. She represents your intuition, your gut feelings, those internal hunches where you have a feeling about something, you know something, like your internal knowing mechanism is tripping off, your spidey senses are getting tripped off. This is like, I don't have actual facts and data to support something, but I can feel it and I know it anyway. So this is usually intuition talking to you about something. Not in like the magical sense. I know a lot of people think intuition is some like magic superpower that some people have and some people don't. Intuition is literally part of our unconscious minds. It's a pattern recognition system. The reticular activating system is a piece of that. There's thin slicing, like your mind has the ability, your unconscious mind has the ability to process information a hell of a lot faster than your conscious mind does. So sometimes your unconscious mind will notice a pattern and boom, it spits out an answer before your conscious mind has even had a chance to understand what the hell's even going on. So this is some sort of an internal knowing, an internal response, an internal like pattern recognition thing happening. It's usually really hard for people to listen to their intuition because 9 times out of 10, your intuition is going to tell you stuff that you don't want to hear. It's going to tell you stuff that you don't want to be true. A lot of times the intuition will kick off and then it won't shut up. And I got this feeling that something fishy's going on, which maybe I got a feeling that there's some passionate new thing getting started up, and maybe there's another connection looming in the background here. And now, because that won't stop bothering me, maybe now I start looking for information. Maybe this is bothering me to the point that I start actively seeking out proof or evidence or something along those lines. So let's clarify this. Why is this the mutual point of interest between the two of them, please? Extra card, no big deal. We'll take an extra card for you. All right, below the surface of this intuition thing we got going on. Page of Cups. Pages are messengers, so this would be news and messages and communications about love and emotions, lovey-dovey messages, expressing feelings. This could be like the early stages of some love opportunity here where we're kind of at the stage of talking about it right now. We might have a new connection that you're involved in here. This could also be, I got my spidey senses are tingling here because I'm feeling like maybe they might be communicating with somebody in a lovey-dovey way that maybe they're not supposed to be. So sometimes this can be like a sleight of hand kind of an energy. If you notice, he's got a fish in his cup, and that kind of represents a couple of things. First, the page is the lowest form of the court card, so it's not fully developed all the way kind of an energy, which could mean it's like early stages of something where we're talking about it. It can also represent a person who's not fully emotionally developed all the way, like emotionally immature, so to speak. It could represent that. Excuse me, but the fish is also kind of like I'm not fully mature enough to the point that I can't really handle your gaze staring at me. I can't handle you looking me in the eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul. You might see something about me that I don't want you to see, so I distract you with this little fish over here, like, hey, look at that. Isn't that cool? Instead of looking at me. So it can be like sleight of hand, deceptive kind of an energy at times. Below the surface of that Page of Cups, we have the Seven of Swords. Now, this is 100% a deceptive energy. This is Aquarius energy of lying, cheating, stealing, deception, sneaking around behind someone's back, trying to get away with something that I shouldn't be trying to get away with. Like I said, this High Priestess is probably this feeling that something fishy's going on, and it's looking to me like something fishy's going on already. Right behind that Seven of Swords, below the surface of it, is the Fool. This is the first card of the Major Arcana, card 0. This is a legitimate new beginning at something, and it's almost always a new beginning where I don't really have all the answers yet. I don't really know what the steps are to this. I don't know how this is going to play out. I'm just kind of being forced to say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to leap off the cliff here and I will figure it out on my way down. I'll worry about this as I go. So it can be that early stages of a new thing. If that's the case, there's some deceptiveness in front of it. And this can also represent foolish behavior, foolish decision making, taking unnecessary risks, or even taking risks outside of a connection here. Excuse me. When I clarify High Priestess, I get Ace of Swords, 10 of Cups, 4 of Swords, and the Sun. The Ace of Swords is the sword of truth. It's the sword of clarity. It's the sword you make decisions with. Like the word decision, the Latin word that decision comes from, literally means to cut off. So when you have other options, you use the sword to cut some of them away until you've whittled it down to only one, and that's how you make a decision. So this can be the sword you make decisions with. If that's the case, it looks like a decision to start a passionate new thing, or to communicate and sneak around and probably do shit I'm not supposed to be doing. This can also represent the sword that you would use to sever a relationship or to cut something or someone out of your life. Feeling like some truth is here. Like there's some truth. Even the high priestess, she has her eyes closed here. She's not the one that sees the facts of the thing. It's like the evidence. She's the one that has just the internal knowing, and I can sense it. I can feel it. Probably feeling some truth here. Next, I've got the Ten of Cups, which is Pisces energy. This is, excuse me, the happily ever after card. The happy fairy tale ending, happy fairy tale romance. This is most people's goal in love and relationships. Very rarely is it talking to me about what we have is the real Ten of Cups, this real happily ever after true love and all that stuff. This is almost always someone's idealized point of view about the situation. In other words, I'm looking at it for the way that I want it to be. I'm looking at it for the potential that I see in it instead of looking at it for how it actually is. In order to be at the real Ten of Cups, you're pouring all of your love and emotions into someone with everything you have, and they're pouring everything they have back into you. And it's mutual, it's equal. Typically, if someone has the real Ten of Cups, they don't go seeking out tarot relationship readings, because if they really had the Ten of Cups, they wouldn't need a tarot reading. They would have no interest in what I'm doing. They would have no use for what I'm doing, because they would just be living their happily ever after and enjoying themselves, and it would be awesome. So usually, the fact that a person is here watching a tarot relationship reading is usually evidence that they don't really have the Ten of Cups. Now, maybe you want the Ten of Cups. Maybe at some point in time you believed that this could be the Ten of Cups. But there's truth here with the Ten of Cups. There's also the potential that we have a severing of this Ten of Cups. Next, I have the Four of Swords. This is Libra energy. Fours are about stability, and swords are about the mind, the thoughts. So this can be stabilizing the mind, stabilizing the thoughts, trying to calm the mind down. I get this card a lot when somebody has been overthinking for a while, and this is like, shh, calm down, relax. You're thinking too much. This is about taking trying to go inside myself, trying to stabilize my thinking, trying to calm down, trying to figure out what to do here. Trying to heal something even sometimes. Trying to figure out what to do about this Ten of Cups. Trying to figure out what to do about the truth. Trying to figure out what to do about these feelings that I'm having here. This intuitive knowing that I'm having. These hunches. Final clarifier for that High Priestess is the Sun. This is the Leo Major Arcana card. It's the happiest card in the deck. It's happiness, joy, bliss, harmony. Really hard to get a better card than that in a relationship reading when that's what it's talking about. The other thing that it can reference is illumination. In the sequence of the major arcana cards, the moon comes right before the sun. And when the moon's out, it's dark outside. And that card can represent something being hidden in the dark, something you don't know about, some secret being kept. The next step is the sun, and then when the sun comes up, it's not dark anymore. So whatever was being hidden in the dark gets illuminated. It gets the light shined on it. It gets exposed, and you can see it for what it is. So that could reference that. This can also, because it references happiness, and if you look at how our solar system's put together, the sun is in the middle, and all the planets are in orbit around the sun because the sun has all this gravity. So this can be a reference that I have all of this happiness attached to this person, or attached to the connection between the two of us, especially if I'm viewing it as the Ten of Cups or the potential to be the Ten of Cups. This could be having all this happiness attached to it. Now I'm trying to figure out what to do either with the happiness or with what got exposed. Excuse me, I'm all choked up suddenly. This is the shared energy. I will come back to that as I go through your energy, because then I'll be able to see how it applies to you. I'll come back to it again when I go through your person's energy so I can see how it applies to them. For you, the first card is the most important. You get the Empress. Central for your energy is the Queen of Cups. And the final card for you is the King of Wands. The Empress. This is the mother of the tarot deck. She's always pregnant. She's always giving birth to something. You can see here she's physically holding a baby. In a relationship reading, she represents the birth of something new. So we've got this new passionate beginning here. I've got the early stages of some lovey-dovey communications, expressing feelings, early stages of like a love offer where we're talking about it. On the surface, you could take that to be something good. Except for having this Seven of Swords right behind it, that seems fishy. Lying, cheating, and deception. The fact that your intuition is screaming at you about something seems a little bit suspect. The fact that the truth is the first clarifier, and right below the surface of that overall energy of the Ace of Wands, we've got this need to know something, to learn something, to figure something out, and there's another connection looming in the background, or a serious choice about connection in the background. This will explain itself more and clear itself up more as we go along, so bear with me here. What's going on with this Empress, please? Why is that the first card? Everything trying to get away. It seems like there's more in here. I'm sure if I shuffled again, I'd probably get 2 or 3 or 4 more cards, but we're not going to do that. We're going to try and keep this under control for you here. Below the surface of this birth of something new, the High Priestess again. So I'm using 2 decks, and I've got the High Priestess out here on the table as the shared energy in the first deck. Here it is again in the clarifying deck. Intuition, gut feelings, internal knowing. Something is tripping off your spidey senses about a new beginning. Son of a... Behind the High Priestess, we have the Devil, Capricorn's major arcana card. This is heavy toxic energy. This is obsession, can be an addiction. It can be a feeling of being trapped by something, feeling like I can't escape from something, feeling like I'm not in control. Something else has control of me. These are the same 2 people from the Lovers card, but here they've got chains on their neck. They're chained to the podium the Devil sits on. They've grown horns and tails because they're in this toxic environment, this distorted energy, and they've been in it for so long that it's starting to distort them. It's starting to change who they are, change pieces of who they are. So we've got some internal knowing here that something negative is happening. This is that kind of an energy that will distort things. So this is making me think immediately that this Empress, this birth of something new, is not a positive new relationship that you're getting into. It's either a negative new relationship you're getting into, or this is, you might already be in a relationship and a new one is getting birthed. Most of the time, this first card, even though it's your most important card, is usually something from this person showing up over here because whatever they're doing is affecting you. This would be like an unhealthy attachment to something that's not good for you. Might even be something that you feel chained to, like it's got so much pull to it that I feel like I can't break free, which kind of brings me back to the Sun. And also, it's another indicator that this 10 of Cups isn't the real true love and happily ever after, where they're pouring themselves into you every bit as much as you're pouring yourselves into them. There's something wrong with this connection. And it might be an unhealthy attachment you have. This might be an element of their shadow showing up over here, an element of your shadow. This is feeling like I know something is bad wrong. Something is way out of whack here. And then I got the Queen of Swords right below that. This is Libra energy. This is she who knows the truth. The High Priestess is she who knows, period. And this is she who knows the truth. She's got her head above the clouds. She's about discernment. She's about being able to see the difference between true and false. Being able to tell the difference between, is this really the 10 of Cups, or is that just me having an idealized point of view? She's about facing the truth. She's about speaking the truth, and she's about cutting away a thing or a person that isn't in your best interest anymore. When I clarify this Empress, I get the Emperor, the Hanged Man, and the 5 of Swords. The Emperor is the Aries major arcana card. This is energy of control. There's two energies of control in the deck, the Emperor and the Devil, and we've seen them both now. Again, making me feel like there's some distortion to this. This is supposed to be about being in control, taking charge, taking control of a situation, putting together a plan to get what you want and executing the plan to get what you want. The Emperor is the person who calls the shots. They make the rules. They dictate policy. They set the boundaries. They decide how things are going to go. Usually, that isn't the person that I'm doing the reading for, you in this case. This is usually the other person showing up over here talking about they're in control, they're dictating policy, they're deciding how things go, and they've got some sort of a new beginning here. When I've got the Devil out here that close to it, that's usually a very distorted version of this idea of being in control. This is usually a person who isn't in control of a piece of themselves. So they try to overcompensate for that by controlling you and controlling the other people around them, controlling the situations around them. This can go sideways real quick and turn into a control freak type of a person. Somebody who's got control issues. Next clarifier for the Empress is the Hanged Man. This is Pisces energy. This is progress being halted, no forward movement. Things are stuck, full stop, dead standstill. Now the Hanged Man hangs upside down because he's trying to look at things from a different point of view than normal, a different perspective than he would normally look at things from. And he's doing that because he's trying to figure out, what do I need to make adjustments to get unstuck? What has me stuck? What do I need to adjust in order to get unstuck so I can move forward? The problem with that is where the focus is placed. He's looking at things from a different point of view. We do that usually when everything we've tried so far hasn't worked. So now I'm looking for something new that might work, which if you're trying to look at how to make this work when someone else is literally in control of it, you can't do that. They have to make it work. You can't pour more love into them and expect it to turn into the 10 of Cups, because the 10 of Cups only happens when they're returning that, when they're pouring as much into you with the same effort and intensity that you're pouring into them. This would indicate things aren't moving in that direction. They're not moving at all. They're stuck. It can also be a person who is looking outside of themselves for what's the problem here. They're not looking at themselves for what's the problem. They're not looking to make adjustments to me. I'm looking to make adjustments to you or to the situation or to that person, or, it's sometimes like, it's not my fault this is stuck. It's your fault this is stuck. This can be the blame game. This can be a person playing the role of the helpless victim. It could even just be saying, I'm still looking outside of me for what to make adjustments to, which would be this person, but they're in control of themselves. You're not in control of them. The only thing you really have control over is yourself, which is where the Hermit comes in, and I haven't seen the Hermit yet. Now, another thing that seems to have this stuck is this final clarifier for the Empress, the 5 of Swords. This is Aquarius energy. 5s are conflict. This would be a conflict in communications, a conflict in words like weapons, using tongues like swords to cut each other. It could be a big fight that ends things. It can also be a betrayal, or a person who has this winning at all cost mentality. Like, I'm going to get what I want and I don't care what happens to anybody else. Collateral damage is fine with me. If you have to get hurt in order for me to get what I want, sorry about your luck, because I'm getting what I want. That's sounding a whole lot like this Devil Emperor energy right here. Something is not quite right, and you know that already. Central for your energy is the Queen of Cups. This is Cancer energy. This is the most intuitive queen in the deck. I've got the High Priestess out here in 2 decks, and now the most intuitive queen. So again, another reference to your internal knowing is screaming at you. She's very in touch with her emotions, very in touch with her intuition. She wants to pour her love into someone. Now, in a standard tarot deck like I'm using to clarify, she's the only character that has a lid on top of her cup. And she does that because she's been emotionally hurt before. She's trying to protect her emotions from getting contaminated. She doesn't want to be emotionally hurt again. So She wants to pour her love into someone, but usually she has to be somewhat guarded and hesitant. So what's going on with this Queen of Cups? Why is that the central energy? Okay. Below the surface of the Queen of Cups, Six of Wands. This is Leo energy of recognition. Now, sometimes this is you getting recognized for something, like getting the spotlight shined on you, getting a pat on the back, successful forward movement. It can be all of those things. More often than not, this is you coming to some kind of a recognition, recognizing something, and whatever you're recognizing allows forward movement to happen. Below the surface of that, what it looks like you're recognizing is Page of Cups. Again, lovey-dovey messages, communications about love and emotions, romantic, flirty type behavior, early stages of talking about how I feel about something, communicating about lovey-dovey stuff. I think you're recognizing that. And there's the Seven of Swords again, lying, cheating, stealing, deception. Good reason to have a lid on top of your cup. Excuse me, I gotta get a drink. I'm all choked up here. That's what happens when I do too many readings in a row. Below, or when I clarify Queen of Cups, I get Seven of Wands, Page of Pentacles, Four of Cups. Seven of Wands is Leo energy again. This is defensive energy. This is defending my position on something, defending my stance on something, being willing to fight to protect something that I want really bad, something that I believe in, something that I have a lot of passion, desire for, being willing to fight for a connection, being willing to fight to protect my emotions. It could even be a case where you have so much love and emotions for this person and so much happiness tied to them that even though your intuition is telling you something's wrong, it could be that everything I'm saying now is slightly triggering for you because it's poking holes in the idealized point of view that you want to be true. Entirely possible. It could also just be a reference to your person here because it's sitting right beside the Emperor, them being defensive, trying to defend their ability to be in control, try to defend their ability to call the shots. I'm not getting ahead of myself. We'll come to it in a minute. I'll remember. Next clarifier for Queen of Cups is the Page of Pentacles. Again, news, messages, and communications. This time about physical, tangible opportunity. Physical opportunity. Talking about that. This is also an early stage plan for the future. A plan that's not fully developed all the way yet. Still at the beginning stages. Maybe there's this idea of I want to fight for the plan that I have. Maybe my plan is that we're going to have the Ten of Cups. Maybe my plan is we're going to have all of this happiness. Could also be a reference that you're trying to defend your plan. It could even be your person is communicating about a physical opportunity and your intuition is telling you so. And maybe I did see Queen of Swords and I see the truth here. So that could be a thing where we had a difficult conversation and I asked pointed questions. And maybe they ducked and dodged and deflected and said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But something's fishy. It's sitting right beside the Hanged Man. Like there's something not moving here, either about your early stage plan for the future or communicating about a physical opportunity could be one of the things that got this grind to a halt and led to a betrayal. Final clarifier for Queen of Cups is the Four of Cups. This is more Cancer energy. This is about not being fully emotionally happy or content with what you have right here in front of you. So much so that I'm daydreaming about this other cup, this other thing that if I had that, then I would be happy. Sometimes the three cups can represent togetherness, being united and celebrating being together. And I'm not fully happy being together and there's something missing. And if we had that, then it would be awesome. Then it would be the Ten of Cups. Then I would be happy. But that's not super realistic because that's like having the potential that I see they're not living up to the potential. But if they would just do this one extra thing, like love me back the same way I love them, then I would be happy. But that's not how it works. They either do that or they don't do that. They're not going to just magically start doing that. The other thing that this can represent is 3 cups of love can represent a third party love triangle. And this could be that other cup that's been brought into the situation. And maybe now that my intuition's talking to me, I can't get that out of my head. I can't stop thinking about that. There's communications. There's also defensiveness, and that not fully happy with what I've got, or potential third party and another thing coming in here. That could be betrayal in and of itself. It's sitting right beside it. Final card for you is the King of Wands. This is Leo energy. This is bold, passionate, fiery, determined person who knows exactly what they want. They normally don't take no for an answer. This is not the dude who lets a minor obstacle or roadblock or a minor challenge stop him from getting what he wants. This is like, I'm going to find a way to get what I want, or I'm going to make a way to get what I want. Very passionate, driven, ambitious, motivated, determined kind of a person. It's also the top tier of the wand suit, and I've got the Ace of Wands staring right at me. So this is the top tier of the passion, desire, sexual energy suit. This could reference that you feel like your person is very attractive, very charming, very good looking, charismatic, a person you would want to follow, have a lot of desire for them. Could just as easily be talking about them in the sense of when they're not just driven and motivated in the normal sense, they're very driven and motivated by passion and desire and sexual energy, which makes a lot of sense to have this here. This would be, like if the King of Cups is the guy who makes his decisions with his heart and based on how he feels, and the King of Swords would be the guy who makes his decision with his logical, rational, analytical mind, and I'm deciding based on truth and facts and what I can see and verify. King of Wands is sometimes that dude who will make decisions based on passion and desire and sexual energy and kind of let his wand dictate policy to him, which might actually be the thing that devil is representing that they're not in control of. Let's clarify this King of Wands. Why is that? Okay. Didn't even let me get it out. That's fine. Below the surface of King of Wands, Queen of Swords again. She who knows the truth. Libra energy. Discernment. Being able to tell the difference between the real 10 of Cups versus the idealized point of view of what I want it to be and the potential I see in it. Being able to see the truth. Being able to face the truth. Being able to speak the truth. Being able to wield the sword that you would use to cut something or someone out of your life. She removes the things that aren't in her best interest. Below the surface of her is the Star. This is the Aquarius Major Arcana card. This is a card of hope. It's a card of healing. It's sometimes a card of wish fulfillment. The truth and facing it and speaking it and being able to tell the difference between true and false is sitting in front of the hope. That's probably a good way to view it. Because hope is one of those things that, don't get me wrong, hope is awesome. Sometimes it's the only thing that gets us through a difficult situation. But there's a difference between real hope and false hope. And real hope is about the hope for the future. It's about knowing that even though this isn't working the way I want it to, it's still the hope that at some point in time, I will get the actual real 10 of Cups. Not with this person, but it's possible to get it. It's about the hope that however it is right now, it can get better than that. False hope is the chain around your neck. It's the thing that stops you from getting your head above water. It's the thing that stops you from getting free and moving forward. It's the thing that stops you from getting unstuck. And the false hope is when you're expecting a pattern that you've seen play out. You're expecting behavior that you've seen play out to just magically change. That's not real hope. False hope is tied to a very specific outcome. Like, I hope this person right here eventually acts right and loves me back the right way. That's not the same thing as real hope. Real hope is, I hope eventually I find someone who loves me back as much as I love them. It's not, real hope is not tied to a specific outcome or end result. False hope is. So this is about having the discernment to tell the difference between real hope and false hope. Being able to tell the difference between the hope that's going to get me through something painful versus the hope that's going to keep me stuck and keep me trapped in a loop of false hope or dependency. The star is also the card that comes immediately after the tower in the sequence of the major arcana. So you don't make it to the star without the collapse of the tower happening, where something important in your life comes crashing down all around you, and it's gone now, and it's not the same as it was the day before that, and it's never going to be the same as it was the day before that. Even though I don't have the tower out here yet, I know it's happened, or we wouldn't have the star here. The tower is the collapse of the old, and this is supposed to be the hope for the future. And there's some element of you needing to have enough discernment to see the truth and face it and deal with it and make some sort of a change. When I clarify King of Wands, I get 2 of Cups, 8 of Cups, and the Moon. The 2 of Cups, didn't we already see that? Yeah, that was 3 cards deep in the overall energy behind this passionate new beginning and this need to uncover some information, or either doing that on purpose or accident. The 2 of Cups is Cancer energy. It's an emotional connection. It's also a 2. So this is a choice, either about this connection and about the truth of it versus what's probably the idealized hope, like looking at the fantasy version of it that I've created in my mind of where I want it to lead to versus the reality of it. This is either a choice about that connection, or this is a choice between 2 different people. And it's tied to the passion, desire driven king. It's also sitting right beside defensiveness. Like, maybe you want to fight for the connection. Maybe you feel like you can defend the connection. But this is also possibly, we had this difficult conversation where I'm asking you questions and you're spitting back bullshit stories and lying to me and deflecting and dodging and blocking and saying, "Nuh-uh, I didn't do that." And that's probably what your person's doing to maintain their ability to be in control. Next clarifier for King of Wands is the 8 of Cups. This is Pisces energy of emotionally detaching, physically detaching, and walking away. The person in the card's walking away from 8 cups of love because they believe there's something better out there for them. And they got to go find out if it is. This is about walking away from what I've got to go see if it's better over here. This is like an emotionally detached person, emotionally distant person. Maybe you didn't even have any actual clues and facts, but you could feel that they had become more emotionally distant, maybe detaching that way. Maybe that's where you got your first clue about the truth here. It's also in the same row with the Hanged Man. This isn't going anywhere. This is stuck. And it's also right beside this idea of communicating about some physical opportunity. And then detaching to go find out if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Now for you, this is advice. And it's about taking a look at this relationship and what you want it to be and the potential that you see in it with this 10 of Cups versus the reality. And the reality is 8 cups is the best you've ever gotten from this person, and 8 cups is the best you're ever going to get from this person because 8 is the best they're capable of. doesn't necessarily make them a bad person. It just means they can't give you what you want. They can't give you what you need. They can't give you what you deserve. And this is about having the discernment to see the truth of that, to face that and to deal with that. And this is about you having to make the very difficult, conscious decision to walk away from what you've got and go down a brand new path to find your ninth cup, your personal happiness, to find the real 10 of cups, because you're not going to get it here. And that is supposed to be your new early stage, not fully developed plan for the future. It's either that or stay stuck in this painful situation, to stay stuck in this painful situation. 5 of Swords, betrayal, pain. Final clarifier for King of Wands is the Moon. This is another one of those cards that, like the High Priestess, can represent intuition. It can represent unconscious mind. It can also represent, like if you think about when the moon's out, it's dark outside. You can't see your own hand in front of your face. You can't see the full path in front of you. You can't tell, is this the right path? Was this even the right path to begin with? Did I make a wrong turn somewhere? Should I turn around and go the other way? So it can be fear, worry, and anxiety from the uncertainty of all of that stuff. The whole not knowing part can freak us out for sure. It can also mean that something is hidden in the dark. There's something that you don't physically see yet. There's something you don't actually know about yet. Some secret is being kept, which makes perfect sense. When either one of these two cards, the High Priestess or the Moon, can represent that there's something you don't know about, some secret. And I've got both of them out here. I've actually seen the High Priestess on the bottom of the other deck here. There's something I don't see yet, but I know I'm not happy. I know this isn't enough, that something's missing. I know that they've detached, and I don't know why. And the thing that I think you might not be able to see is the actual full-blown betrayal of what's going on. And if you have seen it, this is the spot where you're supposed to do something about it. See, I've got the Moon out here where something's hidden, but in the shared energy, the sun comes up, and that means it gets illuminated, whatever's being hidden. It gets exposed. So it looks to me like you probably did, maybe even recently, find out the actual truth. But you've got a choice to make about this connection. Are you going to stay in it and keep dealing with an emperor who controls everything and blocks everything that you say and ducks and dodges all of your questions? Or are you going to detach from that? It's either stay stuck or walk away is what it's looking like there. Take a look at your person. For them, the first card is the most important, and lo and behold, we got that same 7 of Wands again. Central for them, we have the Sun, and the final card is the 3 of Pentacles. Just got done telling you what the 7 of Wands means. It's Leo energy. It's that defensive energy. It's like ducking and dodging, bobbing and weaving, blocking, fighting to defend their position, fighting to defend their stance, fighting to maintain control, fighting for what they want, which seems to be the wand. Maybe that's them defending themselves against your accusations or your questions. Tell me about the wands, please. Why is the 7 of Wands here? Okay, jeez. Below the surface of that, Page of Cups. News, messages, and communications about love and emotions. Lovey-dovey messages, flirtatious behavior. Behind it, you've seen me shuffle this how many times now, and here we are again. Page of Cups, 7 of Swords. Lying, cheating, deception, sneaking around, trying to get away with stuff. And there's the 6 of Wands. Recognition. Getting recognized for that. I think at the beginning you didn't know, and they, nuh-uh, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that. And at some point the intuition was bugging you so bad you went looking for info, or accidentally found it, or somebody told you some stuff that made it, okay, now I know. When I clarify Seven of Wands, I get Queen of Cups, Three of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. Then, yeah, we did already see that. It's central for your energy. So there you are. Notice she's the one that has the lid on top of her cup. She's been hurt before. They're trying to defend themselves against you. This is the person they get their love and emotions from. Next clarifier for Seven of Wands is Three of Wands. This is Aries energy. This is an energy of essentially waiting on something. In the Two of Wands, that's where they make their choice about what do they want. Which path am I going to go down? Which path am I going to leave behind? In the Three of Wands, they've already made that choice. They've already chosen the path. They've already started taking steps down the path. And they have this positive expectancy that the thing they want is going to happen. It just hasn't fully happened yet. And I'm kind of like waiting on that to show up. I'm waiting on it to materialize. Directly across the aisle from it, it's connected to the idea of detaching and physically walking away to go see if the grass is greener. They've got an early stage plan. And this is stuck. I'm wondering if it's actually stuck. Like, there's a difference between I drove into the mud and got stuck, and now it's like I accidentally got stuck, versus like I'm intentionally holding this shit back and making it so it can't move. And I can't figure out which one it is for them. Yet, anyway. Next clarifier for this Seven of Wands, Knight of Pentacles. Slowest moving knight in the deck. This is slow, monotonous, make you want to pull your freaking hair out kind of an energy. When you're going through this, it's really hard to tell the difference between the Hanged Man and the Knight of Pentacles. This is kind of like watching my hair grow. Like, logically, you and I both know my hair is growing right now. You just can't see it happening because it's so slow. You could watch my hair all day and not see any difference in it. You could come back tomorrow and not see any difference in it. It's going to take time in order to see my hair grow. Probably way more time than you would want to invest. This is feeling like you're kind of stuck here, maybe mistaking it that, well, maybe there is forward movement. Maybe there is slow progress being made. Maybe I love them so much, if I wait, I can defend this connection and fight for it. I can wait, and eventually they will arrive here. But most people end up in the Knight of Pentacles and mistake it for the Hanged Man, think that they're actually stuck when there is progress happening. It's just slow. And this is feeling like the opposite here. This is feeling like you're mistaking that you're in the Knight of Pentacles, where I can wait and progress will eventually happen, when in reality, it is not moving. It's stuck completely. And it ain't getting unstuck because you can't unstick it. They have to unstick it. But they're defensive. They're in control. We saw the devil. There's something distorted going on with them. They ain't fixing shit, and they ain't gonna fix shit. Central for their energy is the Sun, Leo's major arcana. We already saw that out here in the shared energy. So far, their first two cards, we've already seen them in this story already. This is, yeah, it can be happiness. It could mean that they've got their happiness tied to the wand. It could mean that. It could mean that something's getting illuminated here. Tell me about the Sun. Why is the Sun central energy for them? Yeah. Sometimes I almost feel like I don't even really need the cards anymore to see what's going on, because it keeps validating what I'm saying. Below the surface of the Sun, yeah, that's illumination. There's no question about it. Queen of Swords, she who knows the truth. Look, her head is above the clouds now. The clouds represent confusion, like emotions clouding my judgment, clouding my ability to see something. Well, my head's above that now. I see it. This got illuminated. It got the light shined on me. I went from having an internal knowing to having a factual, I can see you kind of a knowing here. This is about facing the truth and cutting off the thing or the person that isn't in your best interest anymore. High Priestess right behind it. See, it went, she's in front now. It went from just a hunch and a feeling to actual data. That's because it got illuminated. It was dark. It was hidden. They were sneaking around. We saw the Seven of Swords 2 or 3 times now. Now it's out in the open. And when I clarify the Sun, the Tower, the Magician, Six of Cups, Ace of Wands. This is very telling here. The Tower is that foundation rocking event. It's the collapse of something important. This is either the collapse of the relationship or the collapse of the belief system that you had about the relationship. Once something gets the light shined on it and you see it for what it is, you can't unsee it no matter how bad you want to. And I think the truth came out about the 10 of Cups. And this is either, like I said, the collapse of the relationship or the belief system. If you believed that this was the happily ever after, if you believed that the potential was going to take you to what you wanted it to be, instead of what's happened here is like the behavior has been seen and that has collapsed this belief. And if it hasn't yet, it needs to. It's sitting right behind you, almost like, I don't want to face that. I don't want to look at the collapse of it because I still want to believe. But there's a reason why you have a lid on your cup. You've been hurt. You're trying to protect yourself from getting hurt again. Facing the truth isn't what hurts you. I know it seems like facing the truth and seeing it for what it is the thing that hurts you, but what actually hurts you is avoiding the truth, not facing it, not looking at it, not dealing with it. When I saw the Devil card, it was over here on your side of the table. And that devil energy, the toxicity, the unhealthy bond, the bondage, the being trapped, the unhealthy attachment, that only has the power over us that we willingly give to it by refusing to face it. Facing it, you see that the loops, the chain around your neck is really just a loop, and you could take your head right out of it anytime you want and leave. It just requires you to recognize that there's a loop around your head, and that's what's keeping you stuck. And it requires you to face it and deal with it and face the truth of it and remove the loop. The fact is, whatever got seen can't be unseen. This is not ever going to be the same again. And the belief about this is what's supposed to be collapsing here. Next clarifier for the Sun is the Magician. This is the master manifester of the deck. It's the person whose thoughts and actions shape the world around them to be in alignment with what their will desires. He's got all 4 aces on the table, the ones of the 4 suits. One of those is the overall energy. Another one of them is the truth out here in the shared energy, connected to the 10 of Cups, connected to what your intuition was trying to tell you the truth. And like I said, totally get it. I've had my intuition tell me stuff before that I didn't want to believe either, and it wouldn't leave me alone until I went and looked, and then I found it. So it's, again, you gotta face it and deal with it. Otherwise, you get stuck in the loop. You get stuck in the trap. This card is telling me that your person is the one whose thoughts and actions have created this situation. It's also, and there's 2 master manifestors. The Magician is the most powerful. The secondary one is the Emperor. Again, both of them are referencing your person. And here, nothing's moving because of your person. And here, I'm waiting on my person. And just in case I've confused you here, because on your side, I did reference them quite a bit. And now that I'm on their side, I'm also going back and referencing you. And that's because real tarot is not a window. It's not some, magic thing that where you have this magic window you can look through to see the future. It doesn't work that way. It's not a window at all. It's a mirror. It reflects you back to yourself. So even though we're on their side of the table, there's messages in here for you. There's reflections of you in this. So that's why I'm bringing that kind of stuff up. There's this idea here of they've collapsed it and you're still waiting on them to create it the way that it should be. That's another meaning to this Knight of Pentacles. He's got the Ace of Pentacles, the seed of abundance, but the fields are empty. He knows what he's supposed to do, but he doesn't do it. He also knows what he's not supposed to do, which is sit here on his ass and do nothing, but that's exactly what he's doing anyway. So the behavior that you've seen does not match the truth of what the real Ten of Cups is. It does not match the truth of what real happiness is going to be for you. And this is about going inside yourself to figure that out, to heal from that. Because if you continue to wait on him, you're going to continue to get what you've always gotten. And I know you've gotten it repeatedly before, because the next clarifier here is the Six of Cups. And this is Scorpio energy of the past. It's thinking about the past, reminiscing about the past, thinking about the good old days, the way things used to be, the deep emotional connection that you feel for them. That's the clouds. That's the stuff that keeps this fogged up for you, that stops you from seeing clearly. It's dwelling in the past, dwelling on the depth that you feel for the connection without paying attention to that they don't feel it the same way you do. At least their behavior doesn't show you that they do. You can't have the Ten of Cups if it's one-sided. That's not the Ten of Cups. That's the Eight of Cups or the Four of Cups, where I'm not happy and there's something missing. What's missing is they're not pouring themselves into you the same way you're pouring yourself into them. The other thing the Six of Cups can represent, because it's about the past, is something from the past coming back up again, or something from the past happening again. It seems to me like in the past, they create situations that cause catastrophes for you, when what you're expecting is happiness, and they don't generate the happiness. You are the one generating the happiness, and you're probably giving them the credit for making you happy, when in reality you're making the happiness yourself. There's also probably a history of them doing things that they're not supposed to do. Probably also a history of them not doing the things that they should do. Probably even a history of you waiting on them to act right. Waiting on them to live up to the potential that you see in them. Waiting on them to pour their love into you the same way you pour it into them. Also, probably a history of the Ace of Wands, which again is the overall energy. I've got it in both decks on the table now. Passionate new beginning and passion and desire, phallic symbol, male you know what, using it to do you know what, sexual energy. Final card for your person is the Three of Pentacles. This is Capricorn energy. This is supposed to be teamwork and collaboration and working together as equals to build something of value. This is supposed to be working together to lay the foundations for the Ten of Pentacles, where we have maximum stability and abundance and prosperity, and we've combined our lives together and we've built a life together. This is supposed to be working together as equals to lay the foundations for that. But if you can see in this card, there's only one person on this card doing all the work all by themselves, which means while you're trying to build the us stuff together, they're not participating the same way you are. They're not showing up the same way you are. Meanwhile, they're probably out doing something on their own, building their own thing on their own. What's going on with this Three of Pentacles, please? Why is that the final card here? Yep, they certainly are. Below the surface of that, the Fool. New beginning in something. First card of the whole deck. Taking a blind leap of faith. Not knowing how it's going to work out. But screw it, I'm going to leap off the cliff anyway, and I will figure this out as I go. This is taking like foolish behavior, unnecessary risks, taking risks outside the connection. While you're over here doing all this we and us stuff all by yourself, they're out working on starting something new. which is why I've got passionate new beginning as the overall energy. It's why the first card on your side is birth of something new. That's why there's betrayal in that same column. And that's why this is trying to tell you truth about the 10 of Cups and validating for you and verifying and confirming for you what you suspected is actually what was going on. Yeah. Part of their control mechanism, this emperor that's over here, part of what they use to control you and keep you in place and keep you stuck is behind all of their foolish decision making and unnecessary risks. There's you stuck in the loop. The Eight of Swords, Gemini energy. This is thinking about something over and over and over again on this repeating loop in your mind and not being sure what's the safe move to make. The lady's blindfolded. She can't see what's going on around her. The moon is out here. Something hidden from you. The High Priestess. There's stuff you don't know about here. And they were keeping you blindfolded, keeping you in a spot where you don't have all of the information. And those blanks that you have, the holes in the information you have, are what keep you stuck in the loop, grinding on it, trying to figure out what's the right move for me to make here. I don't want to make the wrong move and step in the wrong spot and make some kind of a mistake I regret. But that's exactly what keeps you stuck and trapped and blocked and unable to move forward. The Hermit. This is Virgo's major arcana card. This is withdrawal. This is isolation. I get this card a lot when communication shuts down, and sometimes I get this card when the person ghosts you or when they don't give you closure because they're not explaining themselves. Like, again, though, closure is not something they can give you anyway. Closure is something you create for yourself through facing the facts, facing the truth, and dealing with the truth. It's supposed to be soul searching. It's supposed to be deep inner reflection, deep contemplation. It's similar to the Hangman. The difference is in where the focus is placed. It's similar in the sense that they're both really trying to figure out, what do I do from here moving forward? The Hanged Man is looking outside of himself. And this is in your energy over here. This is like, what about them needs to change so that I can move forward the way that I want? And that's completely the wrong question. It shouldn't be questions about them. You can't control them. They're in control of them. And in reality, they're controlling you by keeping you stuck and fixated on the external thing instead of doing the Hermit energy, which is looking inside yourself. What about me do I need to make adjustments to so I can move forward the way I want to? Like, you're stuck in the loop, fixated on what's missing from what they're doing. What are they doing? What are they going to do? When are they going to act right? And those are all questions about them. And this is instructing you to ask questions about you. Redirect your power back inside yourself. That's where your power is. That's where your agency is. The only levers you can flip, only switches you can flip to change anything right now are inside of you, not inside of them. This is about asking, like, what is it about me that keeps me stuck on something like this? What is it about me that makes me want to continue fighting for someone when they don't pour themselves back into me? What is it about me that makes me stay in a spot that I'm not even happy in anyway? I'm not content. I'm not happy. There's obviously something missing. I'm in pain. I've been betrayed. They keep secrets from me. They lie to me. When I ask them about it, they duck and dodge and bob and weave and deflect. Even with the Hanged Man, it's not my fault. This is your fault. You did this, not me. If you wouldn't have done X, Y, and Z, then I wouldn't have done what I did. It's all your fault. It's about taking a look at that kind of stuff. Like, what is it about you that needs adjusting so that routine doesn't work on you anymore? Why are you willing to tolerate that from someone? You're better than that. You deserve more than that. And that's what this card is telling you. The best they have ever given you is 8 cups. Meanwhile, you've poured everything you have into them and got less than in return. Feeling empty in return, feeling depleted, like they're siphoning off of you. It's about taking a look at that stuff, because that's where your real power is, inside you. When I clarify this 3 of Pentacles, this idea of I'm not in it the same way you are, I get 7 of Pentacles, Judgment, 2 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles is Taurus energy. This is a period of time. Look, there's a period of time where you've been trying to build everything by yourself and they've been off doing their own thing, not working as equals with you. This is also a period of time where we planted the seeds on this and I'm still waiting on it to fully develop. This is about taking a good, long, hard look at the seeds you've planted and the amount of time, effort, and energy that you're putting into something, and asking those questions. Is this ever going to turn into what I want and need and deserve? Is this worth me continuing to invest myself in? Or is this the spot where I realize the truth of it is that it's never going to pan out the way I want because they can't give me what I want. They're not capable. And is it time to cut my losses and move on? It could also reference the period of time where there's just been catastrophe. There could have even been a period of time where this has been over and you haven't really faced that yet. You can't face it. You can't deal with it until you face it. You can't get free from it until you deal with it. So you got to face it first. Judgment's the next clarifier. This is the most powerful decision card in the deck. It's about passing a final verdict and judgment on something. In a relationship reading, this is either A, it's dead and over and there's no coming back, or B, it's about resurrecting something that's dead and trying to bring it back to life. Seems to me like you might have been trying to resurrect this dead thing for a period of time already. And now it's time to pass judgment on the person who has created this situation. Now, yes, their actions have created this bad situation for you, but making the decision not to face it, making the decision to continue to allow periods of time and waiting to go by, waiting on the person who knows what they should do but doesn't, and knows what they shouldn't do but does it anyway, waiting on them to magically change, especially when you've got a history of them showing you the behaviors that they have and the destructiveness of that behavior. This is about you taking the power back and passing the final decision on this, to call it dead and over with. Either that or to continue waiting forever. Like, those are your choices. Do you wait here until you rot, or do you free yourself? The final clarifier for their 3 of Pentacles is the 2 of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy. This is a choice between 2 physical things, and I can't have both of them at the same time. Now, for them, this is the juggling energy. This is where I've got you, but then I've got this other one, and I don't know which one I want yet here. I'm waiting on something to happen that I want, that I'm trying to create. Maybe I'm waiting on this to be over with you. The period of time where I've been doing shit I'm not supposed to do. You get into this juggling spot when you start a passionate new beginning, when you're not supposed to do that. When you take a blind leap of faith into something brand new, when you've got somebody back home stuck in the freaking loop, this is not good behavior. This is not good behavior. That's why that Queen of Swords keeps coming out. Discernment, being able to tell the difference between what's real and what's not real, what's true and what's false. What are my feelings versus what's reality? So this is them juggling, but this is also you being off balance and trying to maintain your balance and trying to get your balance back and trying to rebalance this and keep it from falling apart, when the truth is it already fell apart. It's never been what you wanted it to be. And this is that choice that you've got between these two physical things. Do I stay here and continue waiting forever? Or do I call it dead and over with? Because you literally cannot do both of those at the same time. You have to pick one or the other.